Welcome to Info 5.
Like please, subscribe please.
Let's go.
No one knows for certain how many caves exist in the world, but we know of approximately 17,000 in the United States alone, ranging from wet limestone caves in Mexico to those formed by magma and ice in Scandinavia. In today's video, we'll look at the most beautiful caves in the world. Number 1. Glacier Caves. Iceland has many natural wonders, from black sand beaches to the Yellow River and the Northern Lights, but beneath the surface lies something more extraordinary than we can imagine. Iceland's Vatnajökel Glacier, the largest glacier in continental Europe, is filled with countless ice caves that change in size and shape in order to keep up with the changing landscape and may disappear or change from one year to the next. A year that disappears and reforms every year. Icelanders search for new ice caves and decide which ones are safe to visit and which ones aren't. It's a fun hobby for cave lovers looking around for new underground secrets, but winter is the best time to visit these frigid caves as it's the safest time to visit and get help from the locals. A good question is, how did these glacial caves form in the first place? Unlike many other glacial caves, which do not depend on the formation of rocks from tectonic plates or changes in the world's oceans over millions of years. Number 2. Crystal Cave. Well, grab your sword because you are venturing into the Crystal Cave to kill the dragon and get the gold. Maybe not, but if you ever get the chance to actually venture into the cave and into the crystal in Chihuahua, Mexico, it's hard. Don't feel like you're in a fantastical setting. The Cave of Crystals is connected to the Nika mine nearly 1,000 feet below the surface and is completely covered in selenite crystals, and I'm not talking trivial. These things are huge, of which most are 20 feet long, but larger ones can grow to about 65 feet. The crystals formed from gypsum-saturated water flowing through the cave, which was rapidly heated and cooled by the magma below. For 500,000 years, this place was breathtaking. But the problem is that the temperature inside the cave is usually around 120 degrees Fahrenheit with 100% humidity. Number 3. Ellison's Cave. Fantastic Pit. Ellison's Cave in Walker County, Georgia, is a truly stunning sight and nauseating place. It's comparable to Seattle's Space Needle and roughly twice the height of the Statue of Liberty. Doesn't look down to claim fame though, but it's the unobstructed subterranean caverns of the cave system that make it truly unique. A fantastic pit is opposite the cave. The biggest attraction is an unbelievable 440 feet unobstructed deep pit, Smoky 1 and Smoky 2, 500 and 262 feet and 125 feet deep warm-up pits and some other shallower pits complete an amazing cave system, all solution formed in soluble limestone. You end up with a dark, reverberating and labyrinthine system with 7 different paths leading to the cave floor and many horizontal passages that only Batman can navigate without a guide, and, as you might imagine, reach there is no easy feat to get there. The caver must first descend into the aptly named warm pit, and once you have a narrow space at the top of the cave called the loft, from which the caver descends into the massive canyon, which a challenge in itself. Certainly not for beginners, not even beginners. Only the most experienced cavers are encouraged to enter Ellison's Cave, let alone challenge this fantastic pit. Number 4. Batu Caves. Throughout Thaipusam, an annual birthday ceremony to properly triumph over evil, hundreds of pilgrims ascend the apparently 272-step staircase to the Batu Caves, carrying their symbolic burdens covering intricate body holes. Despite its name, the Batu Caves are additional ways. From a natural rock formation, it is a special religious and spiritual sanctuary home to the Malay interpretation of a Hindu festival, celebrated by some of the Tamil network in countries such as India, Sri Lanka, Singapore, Indonesia, Thailand and Myanmar. Thaipusam comes from two phrases, a Tamil month called Thai, and a famous person called Thaipusam Observed every year in January or February. According to the Tamil calendar, the Thaipusam contest honors the Hindu god Murunga and his victory over the devil by wearing pageant-goers, the yellow or orange tradition explored alongside together, with Shave the summit representing the success of promises to Murunga and thanking him for the services achieved, or before that for the destinies of fate he sought. But he returned to the caves 7 miles north of Kuala. The Batu Caves became famous in 1878 through the zoologist William Temple Hornady. At one point during the height of Malaysian colonialism, the caves were a popular picnic site for British couples. Nearly 300 stairs delivered recently. In 2006, a 140-foot high concrete statue of Murunga was converted to be delivered in feet of receding steps weak with a huge chrysanthemum wreath draped around its throat rocks by a crane of creation. But the Batu Caves are also home to a few more subtle inhabitants. The caves are home to colonies of long-tailed macaques that roam. The more than 1 million people visit the Batu Caves, so these are probably some of the best-fed monkeys in the world. Number 5. Hansen roughly translates to mountain river cave. Hang Song Doing in Vietnam is the world's largest cave, so large that it can hold a modern-day skyscraper inside of its caverns and has its own small jungle located near the Vietnam-Laos border. The cave was discovered by a local man named Hoken in 1991. The locals were said to be too afraid of the cave to go exploring because of the sound coming from the fast-moving underground river as well as the huge vertical drop. The cave is 5 times larger than Forgan, which was once the largest in Vietnam, and the largest chamber is over 3 miles long and nearly 1,000 feet tall. Then there's the subterranean jungle, which is formed beneath a collapsed roof in one of the caverns. Once the roof collapsed, just enough light spilled into the cavern so that vegetation could creep in slowly from outside. As the vegetation took hold larger and larger, Han Song Lung is a popular tourist destination, but tours are limited. In Derinkuyu, Turkey. If you have ever been to Turkey, then you must check the Derinkuyu underground city in Cappadocia. It dates back to 1200 BC, located 200 feet underground. A series of cities connected by miles of tunnels and caves, all carved directly into the area's volcanic rock. The city is multi-layered, with the deepest areas now reaching about 300 feet underground, consisting of a series of miles of tunnels and caves. An underground metropolis of around 20,000 people once produced many amenities such as wine and oil, but was also home to stables, peddlers, and a chapel. There is also a large 180-foot ventilation shaft that circulates fresh air and supplies water to the village within. There are more than 600 entrances and exits in the city, most of which are used to protect the concealment of citizens during wartime. It was interesting to discover the story behind this group of deep structures. In 1963, a Turk knocked down the walls of his basement and stumbled upon Aaron Derinkuyu, and it has been a very popular tourist attraction ever since. Thank you so much. I'll see you next time. Don't forget to watch our playlist for more top videos about beautiful nature.